means the word plan comes from the word planning. So before we proceed further, let us talk about the word planning, that why planning is very, very important. So planning has different definitions, no doubt, but what I feel from the planning is it's thinking in advance. Thinking for what? What is to be done? When is to be done? How it is to be done? And by whom it should be done. So these four things are very, very important. What, when, how, and by whom. And planning bridges the gap between where we are standing today and where we want to reach. Now just think that for anything we always needs a planning. Like you all are attending this webinar today, you must have planned in advance. You must have registered it many days ago. Now you have scheduled your today's routine in a way that you are able to attend this webinar at 12 o'clock. What after attending this webinar, what will you do, and with whom you will share it with, and whatever you feel that you are going to learn today, or whatever you feel that it's something new for you today, you will reach somewhere else. You will feel a bit enlightened after it. So that is all a planning. So how many of you agree to my this statement that at every stage we need a planning, whatever the thing is, whether it is attending a webinar, whether it is going somewhere else, whether it is study time, whether it is shopping time, whatever the thing is, we always need a planning. Yes, very good responses I am getting from the chat box. Like everybody is saying yes, totally agree. Thank you so much, Geeta ma'am. Totally agreed, yes. So planning is very, very important. Whether it's our professional life or it's our personal life. Now, what is the cycle of this planning? So, is there some root of the planning or it is in a haphazard way? Like I am sitting over here, I have not planned for today's webinar and all of a sudden I have got a call from CBSE, please do this webinar. No, they also have planned the things in a way. They have planned the things much, much in advance. They sent me the link much in advance. I have prepared it. So that is a planning. So everything has a planning cycle. The first thing is that we always need a planning because something is there in our mind. I want to go to, to some place for an outing. So it's there in my mind that I want some relaxation. I want to go somewhere else. So where do we want to go? That is our goal. And that goal can be a personal goal also. That can be your professional goal also. That can be your institutional goal also, because we all are educators. Sometimes it's not all our personal goals or the professional. Yes, professional, no doubt there are professional goals, but yes, there are certain institutional goals also. Now, the desired outcomes. How do we get there? What is the roadmap? Is there a path for it, or I have to design my own path? Or is there some set path already established? I just have to go on that path. Like if you want to go to Delhi, so there are so many ways. You can go either by bus, you can go either by air, you can go either by road. So different paths are there. That all depends upon you, that which path you are choosing and what's the reason of choosing that path. Now, what are the strategies, measures, and targets? How do we measure success? Okay, we have planned something. I have a goal in my mind. I have certain desired outcomes also. Now, the ultimate thing is whether I have reached to that. Like my results are showing. Are my results, or will my results be successful or not? So, what are the parameters for that? What are the measures to measure it? Suppose a child is planning for this appearing for the NEET examination. So he has planned his daily routine. Okay, I'll spend 4 hours in the evening for my preparation of physics, chemistry, and biology. And the other child is planning to appear for some entrance examination. So they have a planning in their mind, but then comes the micro planning. The ultimate goal is to crack the NEET examination, but the micro planning is how can I crack that NEET examination? Just by thinking or just on working on it. I should sit for a day. I should plan my daily routine that 6 hours my school timings are there. In the evening I have to go this, then I have to study. One subject needs more time, maybe physics is requiring more time than the biology or whatever it is. So that is all the measures and targets and the strategies, and on that only that depends the results. Fine. Is it okay? Do you all agree to it, or do you have a different opinion? Okay, yes. Sarika ma'am said yes. Rupa ma'am, yes. Agreed. Okay, great. So it means this is the strategic planning cycle. Everybody is knowing about it. For anything, we need a plan. We need a plan. And the first, the plan comes in our mind. That abstract planning is there in our mind, and then the planning comes in black and white. Like we may write, and something the planning is there in our mind only. It's not necessary that planning is always in black and white. Here, my black and white means in written form. Now, planning is very, very essential for a successful teaching. Now, coming to our own profession, we all are educators. Why planning is very essential for a successful teaching? You can't go to a class without planning. Even if you have been teaching the same class or the same subject for last so many years, even then you need a planning. Okay, this is my curriculum. Now the curriculum has changed. Not the curriculum has changed, rather the pattern of, from 9th to 12th, that's being changed. The MCQs will come in from classes 9th to 12th. So for that also you need a planning, that I have to change my pedagogy. I have to change my assessment techniques, because now I am going to check the children uh, uh, from MCQs only. So for that also, if you really want to be a successful teacher, you need a planning. And what happens when some unplanning teaching is there? That is just a wastage of time. So unplanned teaching and learning is a recipe of wasting time. The teacher is not just wasting his or her time, rather the teachers, they are wasting the very important time of the kids. Fine. Right? Yes, Preeti ma'am said it's right. Absolutely right, ma'am. So planning is very, very important. If we really want to be called as a good teachers or a successful teachers, we should plan it. And one very important thing that is to be considered, we should not feel that I am very experienced one. I have an experience of 10 years, 20 years, maybe 30 years. So I don't need any kind of planning. So here is the mistake when people feel that I don't need planning after my 30 years of job. Whether you are a fresher or whether you are an experienced one, you need a planning. Yes, certainly, one who is experienced one, that person might needs less time to plan the things as in comparison to the fresh one. Your attendance will be marked at the end, Mr. Gagan. So don't worry about the attendance. So the teacher must develop a flight plan. We all have heard the word flight. Flight means when we travel through an air. That is a flight plan. So a good flight plan is always there. It must lay out a destination and the path to the destination. You know, either it's a plane. The plane is going to Canada through Frankfurt or to Dubai, or from this place to this place. So the final destination is also there, and the path is also known to the passengers. It's not when you sit at the plane and all of a sudden the air hostess announces that this plane is going from Dubai to Frankfurt to Canada. No, it's already aware. People, those who are traveling, they're already aware to it. So that's the final destination. I'm going to US, and my route is through this particular country. So in the same way, you know that you have to take your children to this particular point. They are not aware. Whatever subject you are taking, you already know the learning outcomes of it. Like after reading, after doing my this chapter, my child will be able to do this. That is the learning outcome. So that learning outcome is basically what? That's the destination. And to reach to that destination, you have to plan a way that how can I take my children, how my children will be able to do that particular topic or that particular question or that particular thing. What path should I follow? Because if the flight is not planned, it will crash. Because if the pilot is not aware that how much fuel is there in my plane and I have to travel 36,000 kilometers or 3,600 kilometers and the fuel is only for 2,000 kilometers, what will happen? The flight will crash. So same way in a case of a teacher, if an inexperienced teacher enters a class, she or he will crash. So here crash means what? That's just a wastage of time because of the lack of planning. Because of the lack of planning. Then ultimately the teacher has to take up the next flight. So here crash is taken as something positive because once a teacher crashes, then only a good teacher comes to know, yes, these were my weaknesses, these were my deficiencies. Now I have to cover up these deficiencies and I have to take my next flight covering all those limitations and deficiencies. So each crash helps the teacher to get closer to a better plan because once teacher crash, then only she or he will come to know that what were my deficiencies. So in the beginning, the teacher first becomes a manager and then a planner. Why a manager then a planner? Because first he or she has to manage the things. And then only once they manage the things, only the resources are in my hands, then only I can plan that how I can use these resources. Somebody has written, Rupa ma'am, you have written polishing of skills. Yes, it's very clear. Somebody has written my video and voice is not coming. Is it like this? Is my video and voice clear to you all? Please, somebody should write. Okay, all clear. So ma'am, some network problem must be from your side because everybody is writing it's yes. So crashes leads to successes. We have never heard this that crashes sometimes leads to successes, but here we have taken this in a very, very positive way that crashes leads to successes and successes to experience, and experience led to the very happy veteran teacher. And everybody want to be a very, very happy teacher. You know, one of the topic of the webinar is happy teachers create happy classes. So the happiness of teacher matters a lot, and that happiness depends upon your planning. If you are a good planner, even if you are not that experienced, but you are a good planner, you will always be a very, very happy teacher, and subsequently your class will be very happy. And if all the classes will be very happy, the school will be called as a happy school. Now, what are the levels of planning? If we talk about our system like education, the curriculum is planning over years or years of learning experience. Yes, curriculum is framed by NCRT or whosoever is the body to frame the curriculum. So that is the body, and it is over years of learning experience. People, very learned people, they sit together, frame that, the curriculum for different classes, different level, different subjects, and then comes the unit. The unit is a section of the curriculum that deals with the related material. And ultimately, from that unit, we prepare what the practical working level of a unit is known as lesson plan. So you have a unit, you are teaching biology to class 12th or 11th or maybe to a junior classes. So in one unit, 3 chapters are there. The unit deals with a common topic, but yes, there are subtopics, and every subtopic has a different chapter. So that chapter needs a lesson plan. Maybe that not only the full chapter that needs a lesson plan, sometimes the lesson plans is at the micro level. Means even one topic needs a proper lesson planning, that how this topic can be delivered to the children in best possible ways so that it will be very clear to all the children. Monica ma'am, you are writing it's no sound. Please check your connection because it's very much audible to everybody. Might be some problem is at your end. Now, a good lesson plan is actually a plan of action, because whatever you are writing in your lesson plan, you are supposed to do it in an action way. You have planned actually the actions. So it includes what? It includes the working philosophy, the knowledge of philosophy, information about the understanding of pupils, because the pupil, the kids, the students, they are very, very important, because that all depends that what kind of children you are catering to. Maybe if you are teaching in a rural school, the children are of different kind. Though the curriculum is same, the unit is same, the concepts are same, but you have to come up to their level and you have to design a pedagogy which suits them. And that pedagogy becomes a part of your lesson plan. It's nothing like that. One, the teacher, the pedagogy used by a teacher, one who's teaching in a metro school, the same pedagogy can be used by a teacher, one who is teaching in a very, remote rural school. That can be different. And that can be done only if you are having an information and understanding of the pupils. Then the comprehension of the objectives of education. That why you are teaching that particular topic to the children and how the children will feel benefited after that. Fine. Yes, somebody has written that lesson plan saves time and enhances quality. Yes, absolutely right, ma'am. Thank you so much, Preeti ma'am, for your input. And then the knowledge of the material to be taught. Yes, this is very, very important. As I said in the beginning also, please don't feel that I am very experienced. I have a lot of experience of so many years, so I have a knowledge of everything. Yes, every day is a new day. Every day is a learning day. And at every moment we are learning so many things. Mandeep Kaur ma'am, please, my voice is very clear. You please check the thing at your end, please. Ability to utilize effective methods. Nowadays, not nowadays, even in the born days also, so many methods were there to teach. And now also so many methods are there. And CBSE, we are very fortunate that we all are working in CBSE schools, and CBSE team, they are working day and night, and they are coming daily or, at a regular intervals with very, very innovative ways. Like, because they are ultimately their learning outcome is what they have planned in their mind is that is students enrichment. That's why they are working so hard for it. Someday they talk about storytelling, another they talk about art integrated learning. So everything, if you look deep into it, everything evolves and revolves around the students. And we being teachers, we have to learn those things first, and then only we can inculcate, we can use those things in our teaching, real teaching. And it means we should know that what kind of methods are there, whether the methods are effective or not. Because sometimes there are certain methods which are not that effective, like the teacher centered approach, where teacher is the most important. That methods are not that effective methods. Learning attitude is very essential at all the levels. Yes, Mr. Rahul, absolutely right. Learning attitude at every level is very important, whether at the, from the point of view of a principal or a teacher or any stakeholder, any person. Learning is required at every place. I don't know why people are writing that my voice is not audible. It is very much audible. Now, coming to the main point, that why is lesson planning very, very important? Yes, please. Though I have written, anybody wants to add something to these points? It makes more organized. It's a gateway to the students' learning, indicated where you are going and what you are doing. Because whenever the things are very clear to you, you have in your mind, okay, the children, they are here. Because usually, you all have done B.Ed, even I have done B.Ed. The very important thing in the, in the beginning of the lesson plans is previous knowledge checking. Previous knowledge. It means you just want to know that where they are. That's why it's the previous knowledge checking. We used to ask the questions, do you know about this thing? Do you know about this thing? Yes, it gives clarity to the teacher. Somebody added one point to this, that why lesson planning is very important. Very right, Nandini ma'am. Thank you so much. Moreover, our lesson plan should be, made in such a way that students' involvement should be more. It should be student centered, it should not be teacher centered, and it should be very, very clear. If teachers understand how to proceed, yes, it helps teachers to understand how to proceed. Like, what is the first step, what is the second step, what is the third step, where I have to introduce, where I have to use which pedagogy, which methodology to make that child clear the concepts. Yes, systematic things are going to present. Very right, very right. It gives students confidence that teacher thought about the lesson. Very right. Preeti ma'am, you have written if we are able to achieve in that week, that means students are at the same pace which a teacher has planned. Yes, if you have planned anything for that 1 week, and at the end of that week, through your assessment, you have come to know, yes, your children, they have understood it, they have reached to your desired outcomes and their desired outcomes. It means you are okay. It means you have achieved that target. Your planning is good. And planning process leads to students' progress. Because our planning here means the teacher's planning and students' progress, they are directly related to each other. If a teacher's planning is good, it will definitely affect the students' progress. Imparting education become effective. It helps the class to be more interactive and vibrant. Rupa Sharma ma'am. Yes, only if you have planned your lesson plan, keeping in mind student at the center, then only your class will be more interactive and vibrant. If you have planned keeping in mind only and only the teacher, that I am here to deliver whatever I know about this topic, then your class will never be vibrant and never be interactive. Do you agree to this thing or not, Rupa ma'am? Yes. It means it's very clear to everyone, if we are interactive, we have planned, we have kept student at the center, then only our class will be very vibrant. If it is a one-sided class, it will be more like a radio. They are just गाने बजते जा रहे हैं और हम सब सुनते चले जा रहे हैं. Now the components of lesson plan. We talked about lesson plan. So whatever components I am going to share with you, so I feel these are the major components. But yes, scope of improvement, scope of addition is always there. So don't consider this thing that whatever I am going to share with you, they are the best ones or they are the only ones. Yes, might be you people are doing much, much better than what I know about the components of lesson plan. So I request everyone that you are most welcome to share anything which you know that can be added. That is a very important component of lesson plan. Please share it with me because it will, enhance my knowledge also. So I am there to interact with you, to learn from you all. So according to me, the first and the foremost topic, the component of a lesson plan is the profile. Here, profile means that this particular lesson plan is meant for which grade? I mean, for which class? What's the topic? What's the subtopic? And what's the duration? Duration is a very important part of the planning. You should know that you have to complete this particular topic in this much of time. Maybe in a week, maybe in 2 days, maybe in 4 days, maybe it's 15 days. That all varies from class to class, that all varies from subject to subject. Because if we talk about the senior secondary classes, the units, the chapters, they are that lengthy that sometimes it takes 15 to 20 days to complete just one chapter. And maybe if we talk about the junior classes, sometimes the chapter, completes within 3 or 4 days. So as such, there is no fixed duration of anything. I request in the beginning also that please don't look and please don't wait for the attendance link. It will certainly be shared at the end, and please concentrate that what is going on. Accepted learning outcomes. Yes, absolutely right, Rekha ma'am. Accepted learning outcomes. So these four things are very, very important. Your class, topic, subtopic, and duration. Next comes, like, this is just an example. The topic, the class is 7th. The topic is market around us, and the subtopics are wholesale market, retail market, weekly market, chain markets, and the duration in minutes or hours. Why I have written in minutes and hour? Why not in periods? Suppose I have written here that this topic is to be completed in, say, 4 periods. Because maybe in my school, the duration of one period is 50 minutes, and maybe in your school, the duration of one period is 30 minutes. So you say no, on that day it was told to complete this topic in 4 periods. So 30 into 4, like in 120 minutes, you completed that topic, whereas 50 into 4, that topic needs 200 minutes. So please keep it in this mind that this topic is to complete it in how many minutes or hours, because every school has a different duration of the periods. Then the learning outcomes. Yes, very, very important. CBSE talked about learning outcomes a lot. Competency-based learning outcomes. Teachers should know, as I said in the beginning, that where you are taking your children to, what they will able to do after the chapter. That you should keep in your mind in advance, and not only you, let you make it clear to the children also. Like after this chapter, you will be able to do this, and this. So at the end of the topic, they will become the self-assessors. They will become the self-assessors. Fine. So CEO Chandigarh has written that they will share the link at 12:55. So I request everyone to please don't ask for the attendance link in between. It's my request to all of you. So learning outcomes, where you are and where you want to your children to be, and what your children will be able to do. That is very, very clear. And the focus on the concept of skill which you intend to teach. Skill-based education, competency-based skill, a competency-based, learning, teaching. Why? Because you should be the teacher that why it is called so. Then only the children will be skillful. Why this skill education, skill related subjects, the vocational subjects have been introduced? This is only the reason, because the children, what they are doing, they are just cramming the things. Why from 6th standard it is compulsory by CBSE to offer one subject to every child 6th onwards? That's the only reason. And then use of smart technique. Now what is this smart? Your learning outcomes should be very, very specific. They should be measurable, attainable, result oriented, and time bound. This is a very important thing. Sometimes we make very vague kind of learning objectives. Why the child will be able to understand the concept of time. Is it measurable? How can you measure that the child has understood or not? And what's the time bound? So your learning outcome should be sustainable, result oriented, and time bound. And what are the ways to prepare it? The first thing is that who's your audience? Who's your audience? Then what do we want learners to do? What do you want? What do you expect from them? Like you are dealing with the chapter of revolt of 1857 in class 8. So what do you expect from them after the completion of the chapter? Will they be able to tell you the causes of revolt of 1857? So you should know, first of all, it's being the teacher, one who should know that what do learners know, what do you want to know. And the other thing is that, is there any expectation from the learner side also? Like they also want to know something from you. They question you something, ma'am, why this? Sir, ye kyun, wo kyun? And you just snap them, okay, no, there is nothing related to this chapter or this particular topic. Why you are asking me? So next is condition. Understand that what conditions will learner be assessed. Under what conditions the learner will be assessed, and what level of performance we expect. Again, I say that all depends upon the audience. Like if you are dealing with those children, those who are the first, education seekers, you can't expect that performance from those children. Yes, with the gap of time, with the passage of time, they will come up to that level of your expectation. But initially, don't expect it. Expect that much which you feel they can easily fulfill it. Then while preparing, this learning outcomes, I said that should be very specific, reliable, attainable, result oriented, and time bound. Sometimes we are not able to find those words which fulfills all these conditions of smart. So this is here comes the use of that Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is very, very important. So these all are the levels. It starts from remember and it ends at grade. And this is, the levels of this. They are in hierarchy, means they are at the difficulty level. So remember is that easy, because why CBSE is saying that now in MCQs less of the remembering based questions will be there. Why? Because it's that easy. Because it's that easy for children to remember the things. But we really want to assess their understanding. That's why competency based education, the learning came into existence, because we are preparing the children for the rote learning. They are just, remembering the things, and we ask the questions as per that only. No, that is the level. We should go for assertion based questions. We should go for analyze based questions. We should go for understanding based questions. Then only the things will be clear to the children. Suppose we want to ask anything, any question about the understanding. So which words we can use, which action words we can use? We can use explain, demonstrate, summarize, review, generalize, classify, describe, identify, represent, paraphrase, and interpret. So many action words are there if you really want to check the understanding level of the children. Fine. So just think for a question. Just think for the question. I just want to ask this question, and just have a look at the Bloom's taxonomy and you will find a word. What is this? What is this? Instead of writing what is this? What is this? It's better you choose any word out of this which really justifies it. If you really want to, compare two things, so you can write compare and contrast this and that. Apply this particular thing. Solve this formula. Compute. You can use these words in IT, in for subjects. Instruct, demonstrate. You can use in science. So there are certain subject specific words also, but there are certain common words also which can be used for every subject. So Bloom's taxonomy is very, very important in framing the questions and the learning outcomes. Because nowadays every teacher is facing a problem of framing, this MCQs. Because framing MCQs, yes, it was there earlier also, but now the full paper is, based on that MCQs. And what kind of MCQs will be there? So Bloom's taxonomy will be very helpful, not only in framing the learning outcomes, but in framing the questions also. Not only in the case of MCQs, but in journal questions also. Fine. Are you all getting something? Please write it in the chat box, because that motivates me also. It means something is there in this presentation. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now the brainstorming. Now comes the beginning of the chapter. You have framed the learning outcomes. Okay, good enough. Keeping in mind that Bloom's taxonomy. Now don't go into the class and, start the chapter all of a sudden. Aaj hum ye chapter karenge. No. It is always said that always start from the known and then come to the unknown. Because the children, they feel very, comfortable when you ask something which are already known to them. And right from known things, come up to the unknown things. It will be very easy for them. And in certain cases, not on daily basis it is possible. Whenever you get a time and whenever you feel that this topic needs a brainstorming exercise, just give them 5 minutes to brainstorm on a certain thing. Just give them anything and tell and from those interesting things, quite possible that you can get that particular word or that particular topic you are going to deal on that particular day. Fine. So previous knowledge of the students is very, very important, just to check their level, and moreover to make them comfortable. That is more important. Comfortability is much more important, because of being a teacher, you know everything. The whole of the concept is known to you. There is no problem of concept or the content. But yes, the comfortability The receptiveness of the students is very, very important. If they are receptive, only then the things will go into their mind. Otherwise, they look here and there. वो इधर उधर देखते रहेंगे, उनको कोई भी चीज समझ में नहीं आएगी. Then the pedagogy. Again, I said in the beginning also that CBSE also is, after all of us, that go for innovative pedagogies, and for every pedagogy, the last and the concluding line is it should be student centered. It should be student centered. So yes, pedagogies are teacher centered also, and pedagogies are student centered also. Teacher centered pedagogy is just chalk and talk. Teacher is using the blackboard and talking and talking and talking. That is the teacher-centered pedagogy of chalk and talk. Yes, maybe at certain places that is effective, but in a broader sense, if we look out, student-centered pedagogies are much better. Much not better only, they are much more effective. So we should go for the teacher-centered pedagogies. So here I am going to mention only few student-centered pedagogies, but there are n number of student-centered pedagogies, and that pedagogies depends upon your subject, your audience, your class, and some other factors also. That you have to see that which pedagogy is better suited for me for this particular topic. So it can be a direct instruction, it can be a flipped classroom. If we talk about this pandemic and now half of the school is open, half of the school is closed, look at flipped classroom, the blended learning is the best mode. Then kinesthetic learning, where active role of learners is there. Differentiated instruction is very, very important. CBSE is talking much about inclusive education. We should allow every child in our class. We should not stop any child to enter in our class. Ma'am, my voice is very much audible. Please check your connection. And for that, differentiated instruction is very, very important. Then the inquiry based learning is very important because that enhances their critical and creative thinking. Again, CBSE is talking about creative and critical thinking. So inquiry based learning is the best pedagogy if we really want to improve creative and critical thinking skills of our children. Then expeditionary learning, personalized learning, whenever you feel that you want to teach one particular child is not coming up to the level, you either through a phone call or when schools were open, the physical classes were there, you call their children, okay, please mere paas games period mein aana, free period mein aana, recess mein aana. I'll tell you, that is the personalized learning. This game-based learning is very, very important during this online classes, Kahoot, quizzes, Mentimeter, and so many apps and so many things are there which children really enjoy, and that is game-based learning. And one very important thing is storytelling. When this storytelling, was introduced by CBSE as a course on Diksha also, so I thought that storytelling is only for the kindergarten, and many of my fellow friends, many of you people will be, agree to this. Usually, we think that storytelling is only for the kindergarten or up to primary at the most. But once when I attended that webinar on storytelling, I was so amazed to see that it is not that storytelling is only for the kindergarten. It is for everyone, whether it is grade 12 or whether it is pre-nursery class. That all depends that how can we relate stories with that particular topic. That all depends upon us. So we have to search on, we have to go deep into the things, then only we can see that which pedagogy is suitable for which thing. So teaching aids are very, very important. Now pedagogy you have designed, pedagogy you have finalized. Okay, for this particular topic of physics, of optics, I have to go for this particular, pedagogy. Now the thing is that pedagogy also needs certain things. That things are known in our terminology. They are known as teaching aids. Like what kind of aids? During this online classes, when everything was that close, teachers, they used all the resources available at home as teaching aids. Am I right or wrong? And the most common thing used was the kitchen, which was used as a laboratory. Right? Yes. Everybody's right. Right. Yes. Yes. Because it's a fact. Because when everything was closed, even your books were in the school, so nothing was there with you. In the kindergarten classes also, the teachers, those who are taking nursery and LKG, they used everything available, their own children's toys and everything else they used as their teaching aids. So teaching aids are very, very important, not only in online but in the offline classes also. We have to think in advance that which teaching aid I am going to use for this particular chapter. Suppose you are teaching geography to the children and you are talking about the continents, and you are just telling them continent ये होते हैं, इतने होते हैं, America is there, North America is on that side. But if you have taken that globe into the class, so that teaching aid helps, that will do wonders for the lifetime. The children will remember, yes, on this particular part of the earth, this particular continent is there. And same is in the case with the mobile laboratories. Until 10th standard, if you are not taking your class to the composite science lab, there are certain mobile laboratories also, handy laboratories, small kind of a bag like doctors used to keep. पिक्चर्स में, मूवीज में देखते हैं ना, पुरानी मूवीज में दिखाते थे, जब कोई डॉक्टर कोई बीमार पड़ जाता तो डॉक्टर को लेने जाते थे, तो डॉक्टर एक छोटा सा बैग साथ में लेके आता था. In the real life, I have not seen it, but I don't know why it was there in the movies. But yes, if I talk about in the school, in science, teachers, they can carry that handy, bags with them, and that handy bags there, all the materials required till 10th standard for the laboratory to show the practicals or the things in the class, they can show them. Fine. So teaching aids are very, very important. This is the next teaching component of a lesson plan. Now, experiential activities. Again, talking about CBSE, you all have done the experiential course on Diksha, because it was made mandatory by CBSE for every teacher to go for that experiential course. And it's a wonderful course. Wonderful course. The content of that course is excellent. So they have said that how experiential activities, how that experiential teaching or learning is very, very important, and the retention power of the children improves a lot. It improves from, 50 to 70% if we go for experiential activities. Experiential activities means where children can experience the thing using their five senses. It can be all the five senses, it can be any one or two or three senses. It can be ear, it can be nose, it can be, hands, whatever. Role play, field trip, films and documentaries, video projects, guest speakers. You call somebody else in the school, one who inspires them. And the best thing is if you call your own alumni in the school, those who are well settled alumni, if you call them, that's the best thing for the children, for the encouragement. They feel so happy that this particular boy or girl who was a student of this school, now they are very well settled in their lives. And that children, they also feel very happy when you call them to come to the school and address your younger, students, the juniors. Then the portfolios, again, it is very compulsory by CBSE to make portfolios. And then art-based activities, where they use something related with art. And this is also a part of experiential learning, but this art integrated learning is a separate pedagogy also, where only and only art is integrated. And group learning by the students, collaborative activities, peer tutoring. Usually हम ऐसे बोलते हैं, दो बच्चे साथ में बैठ जो बेटा आप इसको करवाना. So this is peer tutoring. And then games and puzzles. We talked about games and puzzles in offline classes also and in online classes also. So pandemic, this COVID has, one positive side also, that we all are so techno savvy now. We all are that techno savvy now. When this lockdown was announced, only Zoom or one or two other platforms were known to the teachers also and to the children also. But now so many platforms are available. So many apps are available for the assessment. Different apps are there for teaching. Different apps are there for every kind. Different apps are there, and that apps, they are in the form of games and puzzles. The children, they enjoy doing it because they think they are playing a game, but indirectly you are just checking them through that game or through puzzle. Fine. Is it something related to your day-to-day teaching, what we are discussing today? Okay. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, exploration and research. This research is very important part. And usually it is considered, it is again a myth, that research is not for the school children. Research is either for the adults or for the higher education. Research for group discussion, you have to research. And this Google is a research, that engine. Everybody, the moment you say something, the children, they are so smart. This pandemic, they have made them so smart. The moment you speak a word and they'll start searching it. The moment somebody says you something, and if the word or the topic or the term is not clear to you, you start searching on it. So that is all what? That is search, that becomes research. You are searching it, and when you got an information of it, that becomes a research. And that research, skills can be enhanced among the children by giving them such topics to explore more on this, to research more on this, that through the group discussion. Let the children sit in groups and discuss on certain issue. Let the children go for a panel discussion. Panel discussion means everybody will give their own views about it, and whatever views I am giving on a particular topic, the other person can pop into it and ask me, okay, my views are on this particular topics are like this. Then a debate. Debate is again a very powerful thing. You give one topic, one person is in favor of that and the other person is against on it. It means they go for research. Like, what are the benefits? What are the good points about this and what are the bad points about? And then the declamation. Declamation again gives you an opportunity of that enhances the confidence and the other skills of the children. That is again a kind of a pedagogy basically. Like, in what particular topic you can go for group discussion, you can go for panel discussion, you can go for debate, you can go for declamation. That all depends upon teacher, and that all depends upon the topic and the class. I'm repeating it again and again. Now, art integration. Again, there is one you know mindset. Everybody has this mindset that art means only drawing. No. Art means any form of art. It may be dance, it may be drama, it may be culinary art, it may be any kind of art, maybe puppetry, maybe clay modeling, any kind of art. So we have to include these arts into our teaching. The purpose is not only to promote the art and culture of our country, but the other thing is to relate the topic with that particular art form, and children will learn it more. So whenever there is a topic of history or some play in the English or Hindi, usually टीचर्स क्या करते हैं, बच्चों को बोलते हैं, इफ देर आर 5 कैरेक्टर्स इन अ चैप्टर, यूजुअली टीचर क्या बोलता है, आप इस कैरेक्टर के डायलॉग्स बोलो. दिस इज ऑल व्हाट दिस इज दैट इज एन आर्ट फॉर्म ओनली. दैट इज एन आर्ट फॉर्म ओनली. There is one chapter of in maths, one chapter is there of concentric circles in class 9th. So there is one dance form जहाँ पे गोल गोल घूमते हैं. It's not coming to my mind right now. What kind of? It's in Rajasthan, I suppose. वो गोल गोल घूमते हैं उस डांस फॉर्म में. When you relate that concentric circles with that dance form, घूमर, yes, very right. Thank you so much, ma'am. So that Ghumar dance, whenever you talk about that Ghumar dance and you relate that Ghumar dance with the concentric circle topic, so obviously children will remember throughout their life. Yes, that's the concentric circles. So many things are there. You can go for clay modeling, you can go for puppetry, you can go for any other things, photography, collage making. So try to include, start connecting the dots. Yes, very right, I'm connecting the dots. That too is an art form. So cooking also, why such things are there? Usually schools go for the flameless cooking. Why? That flameless cooking, you should relate, you should do that activity not only as an activity, relate that activity with some topic, with some subject of that particular class. That is very important. That is art integration. That too is again a pedagogy. Then storytelling. We talked about storytelling. It's not only for the kids, it's for for the senior class also. Why we tell stories? So that they can connect themselves, so they can learn something, so they can share something else. Yes, through cooking also. Very right, ma'am. So this is the part of storytelling. You think for a topic and then you think that how can I relate this topic with one particular story? You want to teach them about critical thinking skills and creative thinking skills. We talked about that thirsty crow story with a new version. Like, the crow used a straw to, to quench his thirst and all that. And then we said that was what, that was all the creative thinking of the crow. So how you can relate the things through stories, and children, they connect with you more when you are narrating stories in a class rather than telling the things. Yes, pebbles used. Yes, very right. Then interdisciplinary approach. That too is again, a very important pedagogy. Like a single topic can be single subject, a single topic can be related to so many subjects. We, being a teacher, should know. Yes, here I have given an example of 3 topics with at least 10 to 15 subjects. Yes, it is not possible every time to relate every topic with all the subjects. But yes, if you keep it in mind, at least with 2 or 3 subjects, I have to relate this particular topic. And believe me, if you work on it, you will find it. And you must have seen there are so many topics which never comes, at the school level. Like if we talk about anthropology or ethics, fine, or oceanography, these subjects are not of the school level. But yes, we can talk about these subjects. At least children should have knowledge of it. Assessment link will be shared, ma'am, please don't worry. Then one very important component of a lesson plan is common errors and misconceptions. Being a teacher, we always know इस particular topic में बच्चे minus plus minus minus ही लिखते हैं. So while teaching, while dealing with that topic of minus plus minus is equal to, though it वैसे हम ऐड करेंगे लेकिन sign it comes of minus only. So at that time just concentrate, just ज्यादा focus होके हमें वो चीज बतानी चाहिए बच्चों को. Because being a teacher, we always know that these are the common errors or the misconceptions. Usually it's there in the mind because your experience tells you, yes, at this particular topic usually बच्चे spellings में a और e की गड़बड़ कर देते हैं लिखते हुए इस particular spelling में. So at that time only you focus. Yes, children usually the children, the mistake of a and e, so mind it very carefully that the correct spelling of this is this. Fine. And then the brain teasers. Because in our class, certain extraordinary children are there, those who are having very high caliber. Our ultimate purpose is to achieve that learning outcomes of the minimum level. But yes, there are certain children, usually we see that 10 minute में काम करके बैठ जाते हैं. So we should have certain things for them also, that brain teasers. Okay, you solve this sum. You do this exercise. You please, go for this practical or this experiment. So you should plan certain brain teasers of that particular subject. In NCERT books also and in other books also, there are certain questions written over there with the name brain teasers only. It means they are not for the whole class, they are for that specific children, those who are having that high IQ. And try to, teach in such a way so that one day your class will be full of brain teasers, full of those children, those who are having that IQ level, so that everyone can do that brain teaser. Then extended learning. Yes, this is very, very important. NEP says what? NEP is focusing upon experiential learning. NEP focuses upon, art integrated learning. NEP focuses upon go beyond the textbooks. So you should give them certain extra knowledge also in the form of extended learning. And that you should mention in your lesson plan. So these are the blogs, this is the YouTube link, these are the e-content, these are the resource books available outside, online also. And if the physical classes are there, you can tell them, okay, these books are available in the library also. Just go in the library and search for these books. So this is known as extended learning. That too is very, very important. And the last and the foremost thing is assessment. You have done such a great job of writing learning outcomes, pedagogy, teaching aids, everything else. Now it's the time to come to assess that whether they have understood it or not. That is very, very important. So through what? Through competency based, understanding based, analytical based, and practical based questions. Go very less for the remembering based questions. Go for all these questions. Why is CBSE is focusing upon competency based questions? Because ultimately we have to enhance their competency, not their memory power. That is very, very important. And then comes the feedback. If the children, they are not able to cope up, they are not able to get the desired results of their expectation, and if you are not able to get the results of your expectation, then it's the time to give them the feedback. And feedback is known as the breakfast of champions. Those who consider feedback in a very, very positive way, they always become champions in their life. And those who criticize, why you are telling me, मैं तो बिल्कुल सही कर रहा था, मुझे आपने क्यों बोल दिया, or I am very happy with this. So that feedback is very, very important. That's why it is very rightly said by Mr. Ken that feedback is the breakfast of champions. So, but that feedback should be goal referenced. It should be tangible and transparent, actionable, user friendly, timely, ongoing, and persistent. It should not be targeted. बिल्कुल blunt words में हम किसी को कुछ बोलते हैं. No, it's nothing like that. It should be goal reference. Like, what ultimately do you want? Fine. Students are asked to make the question on their own, thereby knowing the answer also for it. Yes, very right, very right. That form of questioning is very. So this is just the crux of this, presentation. The profile, then the teaching aids, the learning outcomes, brainstorming, then the different kinds of pedagogy I have written. These are not all kinds. I have written few of them. Then common errors and misconceptions, then brain teasers, then extended learning, assessment, and rubrics. Rubrics are very, very important, that on following parameters you will be assessed. They should know in advance. And then ultimately the feedback. That is very, very important. So all these are the components of a lesson plan. Is it clear to all? Anybody wants to add some point to these components? Or anybody wants to say something, please use the chat box. Instead of writing about that